The Philadelphia Eagles are making noise again, and not just because of their performances on the field. Heading into a big Week 3 showdown against the Los Angeles Rams, there's plenty going on behind the scenes that could impact the team moving forward. First off, the Eagles made a roster move that might seem minor on the surface, but could speak volumes if you read between the lines. They've officially signed Kenyon Green to the active roster, and while that might look like a simple depth move, there's a lot more to unpack here. Green, a former first-round pick by the Houston Texans, hasn't lived up to expectations so far in his NFL career. Coming out of Texas A/M, there was hope he'd become a foundational piece for that Texans offensive line, but things never really clicked. He struggled mightily as a starter, and both the tape and the analytics back that up. Pro Football Focus had him graded as one of the worst starting interior linemen in the league during his time in Houston. That's not the kind of performance you expect from someone drafted in the first round. Philadelphia didn't take a big gamble when they acquired Green as part of the C.J. Gardner-Johnson trade. At the time, it was seen more as a low-risk move for potential depth, especially with a player who clearly had college-level talent but hadn't put it together in the NFL. With Jeff Stoutland overseeing the offensive line, the Eagles may have thought that pairing Green with one of the best offensive line coaches in football could lead to some sort of career resurrection. But that didn't happen, at least not yet. Green didn't make the original 53-man roster coming out of camp. He was stashed on the practice squad and stayed there until this recent move. So now, with the Eagles adding him back to the active roster, it naturally raises some eyebrows. Why now? The move comes right after rookie Cameron Williams, a 6th-round pick out of Texas, was placed on injured reserve. That opened a spot, sure. But is that the only reason Green is back? This leads to the bigger question. Are the Eagles concerned about Landon Dickerson? Because if they are, it would make this move feel a lot less about just filling a depth spot and more about preparing for potential trouble on the interior line. Dickerson, one of the most physically gifted guards in the league, and someone who's played at a Pro Bowl level in the past, hasn't looked like himself to start the season. There have been whispers about his health for a while now, and those whispers got a little louder after the open practice at Lincoln Financial Field in early August when he went down with a knee injury and had to be carted off. He needed meniscus surgery shortly after, and while he returned quickly, it's possible that rushing back led to compensatory issues elsewhere, like the back injury he's also been dealing with. The numbers paint a concerning picture. Against Dallas, Dickerson graded out at just 51.6, according to PFF. That's not just below average, that's bad. Against Kansas City, wasn't much better at 58.7, and that's despite the fact that Chris Jones absolutely wrecked the interior of the Eagles' line throughout the game. Jones is a force, no doubt, but Dickerson was manhandled on several key plays, and it's not something we're used to seeing from him. So, could this be a sign that the Eagles are quietly bracing for the possibility that Dickerson isn't at 100%? Kenyon Green isn't coming in to be a starter right away, and he might not even be the top option behind Dickerson, but he's now in position to step in if things take a turn. And for a player who started 23 games in the league, even if he struggled in all of them, that experience could be valuable in a pinch. Then there's the injury situation with Dallas Goedert. His status is trending in the right direction after he was forced to miss the game against the Kansas City Chiefs. He was injured during the Cowboys game, had a head in the blue tent, and ultimately had a brace put on his knee. Medical staff advised him not to play against the Chiefs, and although he wanted to be out there, especially in a Super Bowl rematch at Arrowhead, he had to sit it out. That was a tough blow not just for him, but for the entire Eagles offense. Goedert is often overlooked because of how much time he's missed in recent years, but when he's on the field, he's a difference maker. He's one of the most complete tight ends in the game, right up there with George Kittle in terms of doing everything well. He's not just a pass catcher who can rack up yards after the catch, but he's also a legitimate blocker who plays a key role in the Eagles' protection schemes and run game. Without him, the offense doesn't operate the same way. Just look at what happened against Kansas City. On the very first play of the game, the Eagles tried to take a deep shot to A.J. Brown. It was beautifully designed, but the execution fell apart because Grant Calcaterra completely whiffed on his blocking assignment, and it blew the entire play up. That's the kind of thing that just doesn't happen when Goedert is on the field. He's strong, reliable, and rarely makes those kinds of mistakes. So, seeing Goedert back at practice for 2 straight days is a huge deal. Even just having him on the field, messing around with Saquon Barkley, doing some shadow boxing, it's a good sign. He's wearing the knee sleeve, sure, but he looks comfortable, and that's what matters. With a big game coming up against the Rams, his presence could be crucial, especially since Philadelphia will be wearing their white jerseys at home, something they haven't done in a regular season game since way back in 2015. It's a small thing, but for longtime fans, it's going to be a bit of a surprise when they turn on the TV and see the Eagles in road whites at Lincoln Financial Field. As for Goedert, his injury history is something that continues to hang over his career. Since his rookie season in 2018, when he didn't miss any games, it's been a rough ride. 1 missed game in 2019, 5 in 2020, 2 in 2021, another 5 in 2022, 3 in 2023, and then 7 last season. That's 23 games missed over the course of his career. It's a big reason why the Eagles haven't extended him. They love him as a player, they value what he brings on and off the field, but availability is always going to be a concern. And the organization has to start thinking about life after Dallas Goedert, because so far, there's no clear replacement. Calcaterra hasn't proven to be the guy, and behind him, there's really no one else who can step up and be a number 1 tight end. That's what makes Goedert so important and so difficult to replace. Against a Rams defense that features a dominant front line and the ability to create pressure, having a player like Goedert who can both catch and block is a huge asset. If he's healthy enough to go, it gives the Eagles' offense another layer that's been missing. Looking ahead to Sunday's matchup against the Rams, this might be the game where A.J. Brown finally explodes. So far this season, he hasn't produced at the level fans have come to expect from him, but that hasn't necessarily been his fault. The targets haven't been consistent, the timing with Jalen Hurts has been off at times, and the overall passing game hasn't fully clicked yet. But this upcoming game offers the perfect storm for Brown to go off, especially when you take a closer look at the Rams secondary. It was October of last year when these two last lined up across from each other. Forbes, freshly drafted in the first round by the Commanders and feeling confident, was excited about the challenge. He was vocal during the week, hyped up for the opportunity to prove himself against one of the league's premier wideouts. But once the game kicked off, it was clear who the alpha was. Brown dominated that matchup in every way. In the third quarter of that game, he blew past Forbes down the left sideline for a deep gain, showing off not just his speed and power, but his elite tracking and footwork after the catch. He even got a key downfield block from Olamide Zaccoz to finish the play with a long touchdown. That was the beginning of the end for Forbes that afternoon. And it didn't stop there. Late in the fourth quarter, with the score tied at 24 and the Eagles driving, Jalen Hurts dropped a dime down the right sideline to A.J. Brown, who beat Forbes clean again in one-on-one coverage. That catch ended up being the game winner. And what did Brown do after hauling it in? He stared down Forbes. No words, just a stare that said everything. It was a message, loud and clear. So now, with these two about to meet again, it's hard not to feel like Brown's ready for an encore. Brown's size, strength, and physicality at the line of scrimmage are simply too much for corners like Forbes to handle. And with the Rams forced to start guys who haven't played at a high level, this is the kind of matchup where Brown can put up one of those signature stat lines. Think 100-plus yards, multiple touchdowns, and a performance that shifts momentum for this offense. Especially if the offensive line can give Hurts the time to operate, Brown could finally remind everyone why he's one of the most dangerous wideouts in the NFL. Now, while the spotlight is naturally going to shine on the stars like Hurts, Brown, and possibly Dallas Goedert if he returns, what might be even more encouraging for Eagles fans is the development of the young players, especially the rookies. The Eagles have nailed their top picks in back-to-back drafts, and that's starting to show up on the field in a big way. Let's start with linebacker Jahad Campbell. Philadelphia took him 31st overall back in April, and already he's showing why that pick might turn out to be a steal. According to Pro Football Focus, Campbell currently holds the highest rookie grade in the entire league with an 83.7. That's not just good for a rookie linebacker. That's elite, period. His ability to play sideline to sideline, cover tight ends and running backs, rush the passer, and make impact plays in the run game has been on full display. One of his most eye-opening moments came against the Cowboys when he forced a fumble on Miles Sanders, an effort play that showed off both his awareness and physicality. Then, in the same game, he broke up a pass down the seam in tight coverage, showcasing his range and ability to disrupt the passing game. Against Kansas City, he continued to stand out, flying around the field and making life difficult for Patrick Mahomes. Campbell's combination of length, speed, and versatility is exactly what the Eagles have been missing at linebacker for years. He can line up as a traditional inside backer, slide out to cover in space, or even rush off the edge depending on the down and distance. And the best part? He looks comfortable in every role. That kind of flexibility is gold in today's NFL, especially when defenses have to deal with mobile quarterbacks, spread formations, and quick passing attacks. With Campbell on the field, the Eagles suddenly have a guy who can counter all of that, and then some. And then there's Andrew Mukuba, the second-round pick out of Texas. While he hasn't posted the same high grades as Campbell, his impact has been undeniable. Against the Chiefs, he had his breakout game. He was flying around, playing with energy and aggression, and showed up in all the biggest moments. There was the safety blitz where he shared a sack with Cedarius Smith, the critical third down stop where he stuffed Marquise Brown just short of the sticks, and then the highlight moment, his interception off the deflection from Travis Kelce. That pick nearly turned into a pick six and completely shifted the momentum of the game. Mukuba might not be as polished as some of the top veteran safeties in the league, but his instincts are sharp, and he doesn't shy away from contact. He's aggressive, fast, and clearly not afraid of the big moment. That's the kind of mentality Philadelphia needs on the back end of its defense. Together, Campbell and Mukuba represent the future of this Eagles defense. And when you add them to last year's impressive rookie class, Quinn Mitchell, Coop Ryan, and Jix Hunt, the picture starts to come together. This is becoming one of the youngest, cheapest, and most athletic defenses in the entire NFL. And that's not by accident. Howie Roseman and his front office made it a priority to reload on defense with high upside talent, and they're already starting to reap the rewards. For a team that entered the season with questions at both linebacker and safety, the emergence of Campbell and Mukuba has changed the narrative completely. Those positions, once considered weak spots, now look like strengths. And more importantly, they're locked in with cost-controlled contracts for the foreseeable future. That opens up flexibility for the front office to continue building around Jalen Hurts and allocating resources in smarter ways. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In the swirling world of the NFL, where player movements often spark debates and instant headlines, a recent revelation from defensive end Josh Sweat has sent fans and insiders into a frenzy. Sweat, who made a high-profile move away from the Philadelphia Eagles, has now admitted he harbors regrets about that decision, igniting speculation about his next steps and the potential ripple effects across the league. Sources close to Sweat suggest that the decision to leave Philadelphia was not taken lightly, but in retrospect, the allure of a new challenge may not have outweighed the comfort and chemistry he once enjoyed in the city of brotherly love. Eagles supporters, who had followed Sweat's rise from a promising rookie to a key defensive contributor, are now buzzing with the possibility that the talented edge rusher could reconsider his options sooner rather than later. Whispers around league circles hint at behind-the-scenes discussions, though nothing concrete has emerged. Analysts point out that Sweat's skill set, a rare combination of speed, power, and instinct, fits perfectly within the Eagles' defensive scheme, raising questions about whether the team might attempt to bring him back if circumstances align. Meanwhile, rival franchises are reportedly monitoring the situation closely, aware that even a hint of discontent from a player of Sweat's caliber can shift market dynamics during free agency or trade negotiations. Adding fuel to the speculation, social media has been ablaze with clips of Sweat's highlights during his tenure with the Eagles, often accompanied by fan commentary urging a reunion. while some caution against reading too much into offhand comments or media soundbites. Insiders suggest that Sweat's admission is more than a passing sentiment. It may be a calculated signal to both his former team and potential suitors that he's open to dialogue. If history has shown anything, it's that the NFL thrives on stories like this. A talented player acknowledging past decisions, a fan base longing for a comeback, and a league watching every move with bated breath. Whether Sweat's regret translates into action remains to be seen. But for now, the rumor mill is working overtime, and the buzz around the Eagles and the league at large has never been louder. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.